Now looking back on it, the enemy already had a plan in place, and I fell right into his trap. I met this guy. I was out doing some things that I had no business. I was partying. I was, drinking. I was smoking weed. It came to a point where he started being very controlling. He was very abusive, physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, at first he's like nice and he's just all, like, oh yeah, he's all into just everything and just allowing me to do stuff. He's reeling me in. He's just reeling me in real slow. So then once I am in, now it's like, okay, the bars, the what is it called? The gates have closed. This is now becoming a prison. He had me locked up in the house all day. Locks on the door to where we couldn't leave the house. He had hit me and knocked me over the sofa, like over the couch, over to the other side of the living room. The part that breaks my heart. I don't even want to break down. Oof. Anyway, he pulls me into the room, and like I said, the 3-year-old daughter slept in the bed with me, and I want to cry. He is like beating me. Like, he's just like, all I know is I see his hand, just, I don't even feel it. I'm so mad and I'm so concerned about, oh my gosh, not in front of the babies, not in front of the kids, not in front of the kids. And I just wanted to like just pick her up and just tell her like, go in the living room. I just wanted to like just take her out of there. It's closed partially, and if it's bloodshot red, like it's red, it looks scary. It looks like something from a movie. It's white. This is split open, and it's white like cottage cheese, like hanging out of my eye right here. And he was like, I'll find out if you told him. And if you told him, then he basically threatened me or threatened my life. I know it sounds crazy, and this is like super embarrassing as I tell this, but hey, it is what it is. And I hope that somebody um, gets some type of help from this. And at the end of this, you realize that you can get out of this situation. You don't have to deal with it. I thought I had to deal with it, but I didn't. Hello, and welcome back if you are a returning guest, and welcome if you are new. My name is Saida, and I am back for another week. I kind of missed the week mark, but I'm here. I'm thankfully healed from the sickness that I was suffering with last time, and I'm also back to work. So I hope your week is going good. I wanted to come on here, and as I've been saying in some of my other videos, I feel like I wanted to start getting into more of what God has really done for me and what he's healed me from and delivered me from, and just different situations that are deeper than what I've been talking about. And so I'm like, oh man, where do I start? Oh my gosh, I have so much that I could tell. And I just recently was working yesterday with a fabulous FO or first officer, and she was asking me different questions. And from us having a conversation and getting into those questions, I kind of started telling a little bit of my story, just a little part of it to her from different pieces of my life. And so I was like, you know what? When I was talking to her, the Holy Spirit reminded me this is what I was going to be mentioning on here as well. So I was like, okay, well, it's time. I'm going to go ahead and start diving into some of that. I do want to say that I might have to break this up into different parts because I know that it can get a little long, and I don't want to make the videos too long, but then at the same time, it's like you can always pause it and come back, or you might have to wait until next week to get some of the information, or I might try to be able to record in between my trips and everything. If I'm able to, I'll try to maybe do another one before the week ends to try to finish it out. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. But I do want to say that I it will, my videos will be a little bit longer when telling these parts, because it is more in depth. And then, once you kind of get into it, it's like, I don't know about you, but I know when I'm listening to someone, I'm like, oh, what happened? What happened? Like, I want to know the next part of it. And so I am going to try to keep it more concise. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. This is still new for me, sitting in front of the camera and talking, and nobody's talking to me, and I don't know who's listening, and I don't know who's watching. And so I'm trying to get better with being more concise, and staying on track, and you know doing what I came here to do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what I was talking to my coworker about was a time in my life when I was in a very bad relationship. In that relationship, so let me just start from the top. And I really didn't prepare, like I didn't go through the whole thing. It's just like I don't even know how we got on the subject, but we just kind of started talking about it, and then I kind of told her bits and pieces of where it was. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to try to start from the top of when this person entered my life. Okay, so I was 19, I believe. It was maybe around like 2008 or something like that. And I moved. Okay, so I graduated high school and I moved to Wisconsin. A little bit more about that is like my family lived, I had family in Wisconsin that I wanted to get to know. And so I moved to Wisconsin. I grew up in foster care in a whole nother state. And so I was like, well, I'm graduating high school. I can go and get to know my family. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go there. I ended up signing up for a community college because I did not get any scholarship. Well, I got some scholarships, but it wasn't enough to pay for college. And then I was staying with family members. And after some time, the family members decided that it was best for me to move out, for various reasons that I won't go into right now. But I ended up moving out, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And so, right before I moved out, maybe a week or two, and I'm telling y'all, the enemy has a plan. You got to be ready. You got to be vigilant, because, and at this time I didn't know this, but like now looking back on it, the enemy already had a plan in place and I fell right into his trap. So I was, you know, I met this guy. I was out doing some things that I had no business. I was partying. I was, drinking. I was smoking weed. That's the only thing I've ever done, was just, smoke weed and drink and stuff like that. But I was just out and I was just living life. I was a 19-year-old. I'm in a new city. I've never grew up in the city, so I'm getting to know people. I'm learning, I don't know anything about the city. I'm naive, I'm young, whatever. So this guy pulls up, and me and some of the girls that I was hanging out with at the time, we are out late because we had came from partying, and so we're just out. And we aren't just out. I don't want to go into that because then it will take me down a rabbit hole to explain that part. But I'll get into that later on maybe another episode. But for the purpose of this episode and getting to this guy, so he pulls up in a van, and I'm going to say he pulls up in his car. It doesn't, you know what? It doesn't even matter. If he ever was to see this, which I don't think he will. And honestly, I don't really care. But if he ever was to see this, he's going to know who he is anyway. But, he pulls up in his van, and he is, charming and things like that. And so, as I'm walking up to the van, I'm high, I'm drunk, I've been partying, like I'm just totally just, out there. But I hear like the Holy Spirit, which I didn't realize at the time. I hear the Holy Spirit, and in the sky, in like purple letters, I kind of see no, and it's underlined. But it happened so quick and I didn't really realize it and I didn't really put it together. And I'm high and I'm drunk and I'm not really, trying to hear from the Holy Spirit or whatever. And I just kind of blew it off. So I get in the car, me and the girls that I'm hanging out with, and we're talking to him. And he has drinks and he has more weed to smoke and things like that. And so we get in the car and he's looking at me. He's not looking at them. He's trying to talk to me. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm flattered because he's older. He's like 33 and I'm 19. And, that's kind of a big gap. But at the time, I was into older guys. So I decided, well, or actually we partying, we're riding around, we're drinking, we're smoking, whatever. So he wants me to go home with him. At the time, I was out and I was, sleeping around and doing things like that. Right now, I am abstinent. I've been abstinent for several years. I'll get into that on another episode as well. And so, anyway, of course, we go and he takes me to this nice house that he says that he has keys to it and he says it's one of his houses. And so he goes to this house and, he runs me a nice bubble bath and everything. And so we're drinking, we're smoking, and his friend comes in from work. And so it actually is his friend's house, but I don't know. It was weird. He had multiple keys to multiple houses that was his friend's houses, but they were his houses to use at the time. I don't know. So anyway, I'm not thinking anything of it because I'm just having a good time, And like I said, I was under the influence. So, we, do what we do. I'm not, I want to be as transparent as possible. But I hate to tell all my business, but at that time, this is where my mind was. And so we went ahead and, we got busy. We did what we do. And so from that, I ended up talking to him for the next several months. And what happened was, I believe it was like maybe a few weeks before so I might have been 18 because I think it was a few weeks before my 19th birthday. And my family said by my 19th birthday that I had to leave. I had to move out and figure out my own way. And so, and this is, it was such a shock for me and it was so unexpected. And it was like, I didn't know anything about the city. I grew up in a small town. I grew up, with uh, family and friends. And I didn't know anything about like the city life. I had only been there for maybe a year or so at the time. And I was just still kind of learning. Had never caught a city bus until I moved up there. I had never dealt with all the snow and just all the different things of like, I'm going to college and I wasn't staying in the dorms. It was just a whole different experience. So it was a lot for me, when they did say that I have to leave. And so I felt like I was pushed out of the nest and I was not ready. So anyway, I met him possibly maybe like 2 weeks or so before my 19th birthday, I believe. And so whenever I knew that after my birthday, I had to leave. And so I was like, well, I don't know where I'm going to go. And so, of course, I believe I told him about the situation. And no, actually, me and my cousin is what me and my cousin got kicked out at the same time, but we were staying in two different family members' homes. And it kind of was just like that time where it was like, okay, it's time for y'all to, I guess, get out and find your way. I don't know why they both decided to kick us out at the same time, but that's how it ended up happening. And so, but before my cousin got kicked out, I went to stay with her and her family for a short while. And then, and then it was like, okay, now it's time for y'all to like leave and everything. And so by that time, it was like, I don't have anywhere to go. And so, of course, I told the guy, and he offers for me to come and stay with him. And, up until this point, we've been having a great time. We've been going out, we've been partying. He's been lavishing me with all kinds of this just lifestyle that I haven't seen before. He's taking me out every day. People are coming, they're asking me, serving me, asking me what do I want. He's buying me different stuff and just, we're going to these nice fancy houses, these nice fancy, well, not all of them were fancy, but, places that I just had never seen and never experienced. And so I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Like I got an older man and he likes me, he wants to be with me, he wants to take care of me and just different things like that. Just, not very wise. And as I was saying, I made the unwise decision to go ahead and move in with this man. And the story gets very crazy. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, you were stupid and all that. But I do want to try to tell as many facts and be as open and transparent as possible so that hopefully this can help someone who may be in that stage right now or experiencing something like that. So, I decide to move in with this man. He's invited me to come and live with him. And as we are, I think it was maybe like a week or so before I decided to move in, I, we were talking about it, we were discussing it, we're still going out, we're still having a great time. So we pull up to where he stays. And while we're sitting, okay, first of all, he was taking me all these lavish houses. He didn't even live in a house. He lived in an apartment. And it was not a nice, like lofty, it wasn't as nice as the apartments. It was just a regular little 2-bedroom apartment. And nothing against that. I mean, I stay in a regular little 2-bedroom apartment right now. Well, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. But at that was a regular, like it wasn't even downtown. It wasn't like a night. It wasn't to the equivalent of the houses that we were going to. Anyway, before I even find out that information, while we're sitting in the car, he proceeds to tell me that I won't be the only one staying with him. And I'm like, huh? And he's just like, well, I have something to tell you. He's like, my baby mama is staying with me because I can't have my child out on the street, and she didn't have anywhere to go and she didn't have any money, and so I have to have her here so that my child can be taken care of as well. And so at this point, we are literally outside of his apartment. I have my belongings and we are getting ready to go in the house. And remember, I have nowhere to go at this time. I don't have any more family. Well, I have family that I will stay with later, I believe, but I had to leave and I didn't have anywhere to go. So I'm like, huh? Oh, okay. But he made it seem like, oh, there's nothing going on between them. They're just, she's just staying there because she has his child, and his child is like 3 at the time, and she can't, he doesn't want to have her out on the street by herself. So I go into the house, and when I enter, I meet his child's mother, and not only their little 3-year-old child, but she's pregnant with another child, which is his. And she's about 7 or 8 months at this time. And I'm like, what is going on? But mind you, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have any money. I'm in a new city that I really don't really know like that. I don't really know a lot of people. I can't stay with my family anymore. So my options are kind of limited. And so I'm like, okay, I say hi. He puts me in, like I said, it was a 2-bedroom. So he puts me in one of the rooms with his 3-year-old daughter, is like sleeping in the bed with me in the room. And I'm like, what is going on? And so he goes in there and sleeps in the other room. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah. I have a special bed that I ordered and I have to sleep in here because I have back issues. And then she's pregnant. So like she has to sleep in here because, she's pregnant and she needs a comfortable bed. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds so stupid. It sounds like, what are you doing? Like, just leave. Okay, where I'm supposed to go. At this time, I was not thinking about any of that. I was just like, okay, I got to make it do what it do, whatever. So I stayed there. And as time progressed, of course, found out that it was definitely more than what he was leading on. They were actually still together and he was trying to bring me in to be like another uh wife, or well, not a wife. They weren't married. We weren't married or anything, but you know he wanted to have more than one woman, and he had done this before. I found out that he had brought other women and they had stayed, in this particular baby mom was the only one who was still there while he brought the other women, and the other women came and gone and she stayed around. And then I found out later that he also had two other children's mothers. And I think altogether with the baby that she had while I was there, he ended up having 6 kids. And he did not tell me all of this from the start. Okay. And yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy situation. So anyway, like I said, I'm being honest, y'all. I know y'all, don't judge me. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. This is what happened. So as time goes on, I realize that they are having more than just a baby mama, baby daddy taking care of the child situation. First of all, she's pregnant with his child and she's like 7 or 8 months. Okay. And so, yeah, they are still together and they're trying to bring in another woman. So, as I figured this out, or come to this realization of what's going on, I am super uncomfortable, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't really know people. Only other thing I know is other guys that I've met, and I could possibly end up being in another situation like this, and I don't have money. I actually tried to I put in hundreds of applications. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I literally was filling out applications every day. And it was so crazy that it was so hard for me to get a regular job. They either said I was overqualified or I was underqualified, or they didn't. I think they thought that I wasn't gonna stay long because the area that I was in, I'm very at the time I was more articulate and more um, developed in, like, where I came from. I learned school was important, and I don't know. Basically, they said I was overqualified, even to get a job at like a fast food restaurant. I couldn't even get a job there because I was overqualified. I did not fit in with where I was. It was very urban, and it was something. I came from like a mixed area. Um, it was a lot of like different people, white people, black people. I grew up in a college town, and so I learned a lot of different things. That this culture was a lot different, and I don't mean to. I'm not speaking against it or anything. My family is from there, and I have grown up in certain parts of the hood, or certain times whenever I was younger. I kind of, like I said, I was in foster care and stuff, and so I've kind of grown up in parts of the hood, but I did not have that hood mentality like a lot of people did in the area where I was staying. So anyway, couldn't really get a job. I applied to numerous jobs and I was not able to get hired. And I was also going to school. So at this time I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stay. I stayed, and as the time developed, I realized, okay, they're still having sex. They're still, together, all this other stuff. So I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, you know what? I don't think we should have sex anymore because you're still with her. Like, I don't want to be in here having sex with you and then you're with her. And then like some nights he would come in there and like sleep with me. And then some nights he would go her. And I'm looking like, what is this, sister wives? Like, I didn't sign up for no sister wives. Like, I'm not trying to be a sister wife. I'm like, and at the time that wasn't even a name, but you know what I'm saying. And so I was just like, so I told him I didn't want to have sex anymore. And so he agreed. But with me deciding that I didn't want to have sex anymore, he decided that, okay, well, if you don't want to have sex anymore, because so also he was taking me out. And so me and him would go out and we would still hang out and stuff. And she's pregnant. She's at home about taking care of the other child and about to have another child. And so we were still going out. We were still always like going and spending the night at these other houses, and we were going out and just doing all kinds of stuff. And so whenever I told him I didn't want to have sex anymore, well, then it was like, okay, well, you don't have to. And so now I have to stay here at the house with her and the kids. And now he out trying to find somebody else because the lifestyle that he was offering, okay, you don't want to have sex, that's fine. But I'm still, take care of you stuff. But like he's out here now with someone else and like leaving me at the home at the house with her. So I'm like, it, it was a rough situation. So eventually, I, she did not she was not a willing she was a willing participant to the situation, but she wasn't willing. She did not like the situation, and she did not like the fact that he was bringing other women in and that he wanted to have another woman. But she had no choice. She couldn't do anything about it. Now this man also, he was very powerful. He had a lot of control, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. But it was not it's so easy to just say, oh, no, or to just like walk away. It wasn't like we could just have that free will to do that. So anyway, moving on. he I eventually, me and her are kind of like clashing because like I said, she's not fully in agreement with it. She's just kind of going along with it because like she doesn't have a choice, because like this is what he wants to do. He, whatever he does, whatever he says goes. He's paying for everything. He's taking care of us, and so there's really nothing she could do about it. But she kind of would do little stuff, or she would kind of like, I won't say she set me up, but she did not offer assistance when she knew that it could possibly make the situation worse. And what I mean by that is like, it came to a point where he started being very controlling. He was very abusive, physically, mentally, emotionally, and she knew of this because she had already experienced it. She had already been beaten and and abused in all these different ways. And so she kind of was like smirking whenever he started doing it to me. And instead of telling me, like, hey, like be careful because you're setting yourself up to get beat and stuff like that, it's more so like she kind of just like helped to not necessarily set me up, but kind of in a way, because she knew certain stuff, and she never offered to help me in that because she was, like I said, she didn't really like the fact that I was there. So whenever that started happening, I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's no respect from her to me as far as that goes. Like, she was cordial and stuff. We never like got into it, or we never had any issues like that, because we pretty much like we knew that we had to like respect each other to a certain amount. I think we did get in a couple arguments, and then he kind of mediated and was like, look, y'all gonna have to work it out, and you're gonna, whatever. And so but it was never anything major. But I just feel like, okay, so you ain't looking out for me in this way, and so why am I being respectful to you and being like, okay, well, we can't, I can't sleep with him anymore. So I was like, okay, so I started sleeping with him again. And then also, I'm not gonna lie, I was used to us going out and doing this. Now you're leaving me at home with her and the kids. You trying to make me into a baby mama here, and I didn't sign up for that either. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back out into the streets, and I'm not used to this. This is not what I'm looking for at this time in this age. And so I decided to start back sleeping with him, and we are now going back out and doing things, but also I'm kind of being domesticated in this relationship, this threesome, but it wasn't a threesome. Me and her never were sexually active with each other, and me and her never actually like had sex with him at the same time. So anyway, um moving on. I know it sounds crazy and this is like super embarrassing as I tell this, but hey, it is what it is. And I hope that somebody um, get some type of help from this. And at the end of this, you realize that you can get out of this situation. You don't have to deal with it. I thought I had to deal with it, but I didn't. But anyway, so as time goes on, he becomes very much controlling. He's like, he at first he's like nice and he's just all, like, oh yeah, he's all into just everything and just allowing me to do stuff. He's reeling me in. He's just reeling me in real slow. So then once I am in, now it's like, okay, the gate, the bars, the what is it called? The gates have closed. This is now becoming a prison. And we continue going out, we continue doing stuff. I eventually ended up um I would go and leave, and sometimes he would let me go off by myself and stuff. And but it was like every time that I would come back, so I was going to hang out with the people that he met me with, and he knew what kind of stuff they were doing. He knew we was all out being fast and stuff, and so of course he didn't like that, but he allowed me to go. And he allowed me to go and kind of see my family and like do some of that stuff at first. But then it got to the point to where he would no longer allow me to do any of these things. And so he actually would he every time I would come back from being out, he would just get very jealous and he would start an argument. And then from the argument, he's like, oh, you were out, you were sleeping with somebody else and you were doing this, you were doing that. And I'm like, I wasn't doing any of that. Oh, you were flirting with somebody, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I wasn't doing any of that. Now I don't I honestly think I probably was, because my mindset was like, make it where you can. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it was to the point where he was like taking it, because he was like, oh, you were flirting with da 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 blah blah. But looking back at the situation, he had people watching me that I later found out, and he set me up a couple times with, I guess, guys or something. So I don't know. As far as like, he might have set some guy up to come and try to talk to me, and I might have willingly flirted with him or exchanged numbers or something with him, but I never actually like had sex with anybody else while I was talking to him. That I can remember. No, I didn't, because I was scared. But anyway, so yeah. So we end up, I'm trying to stay on track. It's a little bit it's a little uneasy. I think actually I'm going to, it's getting late and I do have to get up for work tomorrow. And then as you can see, this light back here is on. And so my roommate is home. And so it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable for me to continue with this. And that's why I'm kind of sidetracking. I'm kind of losing my space on what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and end this here, and I will come back and try to do the next part. And you can stay tuned, because I'm going to go ahead and add it to the rest of this video. But yeah, I'm just very distracted right now, because I can't really stay on track for what I was saying, and I don't want to keep, getting off track and making it longer and, drawing the story out. So stay tuned. I'm going to add all of it together and make it into a full video, but you probably will see me in different clothes. And yes, baby, this is a wig. So I might have on a different wig because I'm going to put on my work wig. So if I happen to do it at work, then I'm gonna put on my work wig. But if you happen to see me with different hair or something, then yeah, that's the reason why, and different clothing and stuff. So All right, let's pause. I'm back. Of course, you can see it's a different setting. I'm at my hotel. I have a little bit of time before I have to get ready and go to work. I'm so sorry. I know this is super ghetto. Just having to stop in between. I'm changing. I'm in a whole different setting and everything. But like I said, it is going to take a lot to actually tell the story. And the enemy has been working because I everything has been trying to prevent me from getting this story out or just doing this particular video. Every video is really it's always a struggle to get the videos done. But this one, I'm like, man, I just want to just get on there and just tell the story. Can't I just do that? But I did listen back to the story. Y'all, please don't kill me in the comments. I understand that it was it was ghetto, it was ratchet, and I understand that my mindset. You understand that this is many years ago. This is when I was 18 and 19 years old. I do understand that I was wrong in the first place because I should not have even put, been there with him knowing that he had another woman and things like that. I understand all that. I'm different now. I've changed now. So please don't kill me in the comments. Don't, judge me. I'm just telling what happened at that time. And if I change it and try to make it sound good, that's not going to be what really happened. So I'm trying to be as honest and transparent as possible and just let you know what was actually happening at that time. I do know I was wrong. Okay. And I would not do that in this moment in time, in this age and everything like that. Don't act like you ain't never done nothing wrong though. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get back into the story and I'm going to try to finish it. I've been trying to wait for housekeeping to get done because they were cleaning the room like right next door. And it's like super silent. Like nobody else is like I don't hear any TVs or anything, but I know that you can hear outside the door. So I've been like trying to wait for them and it took them like an hour. So I've been sitting here like trying to listen to what I recorded and wait for them and get back into the story. So, anyway, I'm gonna try to finish it in this little bit of time that I have before I have to end up stopping and getting ready for work. If you are still here, thank you. Like I said, please don't kill me in the comments. I'm just being honest, and the reason I'm telling this is because I want to help someone else who may think that they don't have a choice or who may be in this type of situation. They might need a different answer than what they have. So if you even listen to this, I hope that, you're enjoy the crazy story, okay? Anyway, it gets crazier and crazier, and you're gonna see as you continue to listen. Please listen to the whole thing and don't judge me, okay? So I am now at this point back to sleeping with him, and we are going out again. He's taking me out, but at the same time, he's kind of leaving me at the house and he's making me he's kind of domesticating me, but um, he's also taking me out still because like now I'm back to sleeping with him and stuff. And really, all of it was just really just a mind game. Like he knew how to have control. He was a mastermind at control and stuff. And so I'm young, like I'm 18 years old. I don't know, I'm 19 years. I didn't know any of this stuff. So of course, I'm just young and dumb and just going along with the plan because I'm thinking this is what I have to do. So anyway, I I stay there for several months, and throughout the months, of course, um he starts to become more controlling. It gets to the point to where I had a little prepaid phone because this is like in what 2008 or something, and I have a little prepaid phone that I would put minutes on it and stuff. And that's what I had when I met him. And um throughout the time I actually went and got phone, another prepaid phone, or like is it like one of the monthly phones? I think it's like a prepaid phone or whatever. And because that phone, he would put minutes on it sometime, and then sometime I would put minutes on it, and then sometimes you know how like you call them minute phones, and then like sometimes you get an answer, sometimes you don't, even though there's no minutes on there. I don't know. So he would call my phone, the first phone that I had, and he would be like, I thought you didn't have any money to put on your phone. And I'm like, I didn't. I don't even know how you're able to call. And so he would think that I'm lying. And I'm like, I didn't have any money to put on the phone. So then he would so the whole time that I was talking to him, he had people watching me. But I did not know this. So of course, I'm young. I had honestly never gotten that much attention before. I came from, like I said, a small town. It was a lot of, white people. It was some black people and stuff too. But I was just really shy. I was really quiet. I was really reserved. I was really into like just, academics and just, I was really just a naive young little girl. I didn't know any of that stuff. So when I moved to the city, I started getting attention from, first of all, I'm in Milwaukee, which is a well, where I was in the predominantly black area. I'm over here in the hood area, or in just the predominantly black area. So of course now I'm getting attention from all of these different men, and I'm like, what? Like I didn't know anything about that because all I knew was like when I was in Illinois, I had my little boyfriend. He was a little older than me too, and and then I had a couple guys that I had talked to or messed with or whatever, but it wasn't anything to the magnitude of what it was here. And this is how the enemy, like as I look back, it's like the enemy had a plan and I was just falling into the traps. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting attention from everywhere. And even before I met him, I'm getting attention from everywhere. So I'm not, realizing that this is just, a trick of the enemy, like, whatever. So I was flirtatious. I'm not going to lie. I was flirtatious, but I was not, when I met him, I when we started messing around and I was staying with him, I did not sleep with anyone else because, like I said, I was scared of him. And then also, I didn't feel like, I'm with him, like we're having sex. What do I need to go and be with someone else for? And then plus I couldn't because he had me locked up in the house all day. So whenever I wasn't with him. And it wasn't, he did not have locks on the door to where we couldn't leave the house. But what he did was, like I said, I had the prepaid phone and he would call the phone. And then if I wanted to go somewhere, like it was a time when there was like a little what's it called? Tennis court, and it was up the street from the house and from the apartment that we stayed in. And so I used to want to go to the tennis court and work out because I'm sitting here all day with the his baby mama and their young baby that she had and their 3-year-old, which, the kids were they were just, they were peaches, they were fine. There was nothing against them. There really was even nothing against her. It was the whole situation in the first place. I should have never even been there in the first place. So, but I wasn't trying to, like I said, I'm young. I wasn't, this is not what I thought I was coming to. So I wasn't trying to be in there with her. And then plus, she frowning up at me and rolling her eyes, which she had every right to do. But at the time, I was just like in offensive mode, like, what you looking at me for, And so it was just an uncomfortable environment. So I wanted to go and work out down the street, or I would want to leave and go to my family's house, which I would have to catch a city bus to get there, or like two city buses to get there, depending on which family member I was going to, maybe even three city buses. And I would have to, and so what he would do was, and I'm telling you, this story gets crazier, so hang in there. So what he would do was, if I wanted to go anywhere, I had to call him first, and I had to ask him, can I go to wherever I'm trying to go? If I wanted to go work out, I got to ask him, can I go work out? And at the time, I did not realize it. I found out later. At the time, he would always be like, let me call you back. And I'm like, what is he having me? What does he want to call me back for? Why every time I do it? Why every time I want to go somewhere, he got to call me back? So it would be like 30 minutes or something. And he would call me back and be like, okay, you can go. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I would leave and I would go over to the little tennis court, which was maybe like 2 or 3 blocks down the street or something. And I would walk down there and I would be working out on the tennis court, running around doing exercise and stuff like that. Just by myself, with nobody out there. If, people passing by and stuff, and I would, say hi or something, or they might speak to me or something. And then I'm just like looking at my little, and we had the little flip phones with the little buttons you got to press all hard. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like how it is now. So I'm looking at my little phone and trying to, make a phone call or something because I don't want to talk while I'm around her or, because I know she's gonna tell on me and then he can hear me and I don't know, he might have even had cameras and stuff around the house that I didn't realize because there were some things that he said that I was like, wait a minute, how does he know that? I was in there by myself. Like I was in the bathroom. I used to I used to go in the bathroom and like be in there, and I would make uh, faces and stuff in the mirror, and I would like try to. I was trying to do modeling and acting, and so I would like be in there practicing basically in the mirror. And so one day he said like, "You the type that go in the bathroom and be in the mirror and making faces and stuff and talk to yourself." And I was like, "What?" But at this time, like I said, I'm very high all the time. I'm smoking weed all the time to try to get through the day, and I'm drinking all the time and partying. And it was like stuff was, it would have made sense had I been sober minded, but because I wasn't sober minded, I just kind of blew it off or whatever. So anyway, and that's a good point right there. The scripture says to be vigilant and pay attention because the enemy roars around like a he walks around like a lion seeking whom he may devour. And I was getting devoured and did not even know it. Um, and from me being under the influence, it made it worse because I did not see and hear and I did not discern certain things that I should have been able to discern. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. So it got to the point where he, like I said, he had, or I don't know if I've said this yet, because now I'm kind of getting a little confused. I didn't have to stop and start again, and then also I was telling my coworker some of the story, in bits and pieces, and so I'm not sure what I said to her and what I said on here. So I'm sorry if I repeat anything. But so then it comes to the point where he is he is he has another car that his brother had or his sister's husband had or something. I don't know. For some reason he ends up taking the car, I think, from his sister or his brother or something like that. And so it's like a little neon, I think it was, or something like that. And he would park the car on the street, like down the street from the house or from the apartment or whatever. And so I think, I don't know if I asked if I could use the car or if he started suggesting that I could use the car or something. I don't know. So anyway, I start at one point using the car and but again, I have to call him and I have to ask him, can I go somewhere? And so again, it's like, oh, I'll call you back. And I'm like, whatever. So I am doing whatever I'm doing. He called me back 30, 45 minutes, an hour, however long it took for him to call me back. So he called me back and he's like, okay, you can go. And then there were some times when he wouldn't let me use the car and he would make me get on the city bus and the car would still be parked there. Why can't I use the car? You got a van, you got another car, and you got this car. And then I think he even had another car that somebody else had. This car is sitting here parked. I'm Why I gotta catch buses, multiple buses to get to where I'm going. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I end up getting the car one day and I'm like driving and you know, when I look back at it, I do feel like it was somebody following me at one point in time. I was like, is this person following me? But I just didn't really put it all together because it was just like I said, I was most of the time high, so high off of smoking weed and drinking, and I was just out of my mind. And so, anyway, um, so um, I got the car a couple times. So then going to this phone, this second phone that I get. So for some reason, I decided to go and get another phone. I think maybe one of the cellular companies, Boost or something, had a deal going on or something where you can get a phone and you pay like $30 a month, or I don't know what it was. I was paying like $15 for a prepaid card. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just pay for a phone, or maybe they had a special. It might have been less than even $30 a month. I don't even know. But for some reason, I decided I wanted to get a new phone. So on that particular day, I caught the city bus. I asked him, he approved it. I waited. He called me back. I got on the city bus and I went, and I caught the bus and I went across to the USA. Oh, I think it was US Cellular. I went across to US Cellular. I got the phone and the service, and then I went. My family stayed. It was like a hair store, beauty supply store there, and then my family stayed down the street. So I went down the street to my family's house, and I stayed over there, and I was talking to. So across from my family's house, there was a guy who was around my age. He was maybe a year or two older than me, and he was really good looking, and he lived there with his brothers and sisters. And then there was also next door to my family's house, there was I called the girl my cousin because we always hung out. You know how black people always tell my cousin, my cousin. And so I called her my cousin, but she had five brothers. So of course they're out there and they have their friends that are around. So every time that I go over there to visit my family, the guys are outside. It's hot. Everybody's outside on the porch. They're, young. We're all teenagers, like, we're 18, 19, whatever. They were different ages because there was five of them. And then the guy, I think he was like maybe a year or two older than me. So he's 19, 20, something, 21 or something like that. And so I would sit out there and I would talk to the guy for several hours, like even like, I believe one time we sat there for like 3 hours and talked or something. And we were just talking, like, if you know me, I like to have in-depth conversations, and I had conversations with everybody in depth. But anyway, we were just talking. We were sitting on the stoop, we're talking. And then, of course the guys would all be looking at me and stuff like that. So it got to the point where he, like I said, he had somebody watching me, but I didn't realize it. So I'm just living my life. Like, I didn't sleep with anybody else. I'm just out. And so anyway, um, it got to the point where he became more and more jealous and more controlling, and he took away more and more of my privileges or my right to be out and without him and stuff like that. So I ended up, um, let me see. So there's a lot of things that happen. I want to put them in order, but at the same time, I'm telling all these details because these details are going to matter later. And plus, like, it's a story. You need details. I don't like when people tell stories and they don't give me all the details. I need all the details, please. Thank you. But anyway, so yeah. So the phone situation is going to come up later, and also the situation about him following me because, like I told you, I didn't know until this is all going to come out later, and you're gonna understand why I told you that part. But anyway, at the time, I was also going to college. I had said earlier in the video that I signed up for a community college. It was actually a technical college, and I was in school for nursing to become an RN. And I was just doing my general classes because it was like my first year or whatnot. And while I was in school, I was still smoking all the time, drinking, partying, all of that stuff. And I was meeting different people who were taking me further and further into that lifestyle. So I was failing some of my classes. I've never really been too good at like math and science and stuff. That was never like my thing. So I wasn't doing too good in those classes. I kind of was like so high that I kind of didn't really even care. Like I tried, but then it was like I was just like, ugh, like I just don't like these classes. Why do I have to take these classes? But I think I had gotten so far behind that it was, or I was falling so far behind that I just couldn't keep up, and I just kind of gave up on it. So those classes I kind of was not doing so well in, and I think I even got, I don't know if they failed me or like if they just like, I don't even know. I think that I don't remember it being like F, like failed, but I definitely would have had to take the classes again. But on the other hand, my other classes I was doing really well in. So I was doing really well in English. I have always done really well in English. As you can see, I like to talk and I like to write, and I also, am a storyteller. And so that's thank God for the gift of that. And so I used to write, really well. When it came to like doing like all of my other classes besides I think math, and like as the math and science classes got to like the higher curriculums, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was just, it was those were, I didn't care about those, but I cared about the English class and all my other classes. So um I made straight A's all the way through English, right? And I'm still I was in school before I actually met him, and I was um now I'm still going to school. He believes in school. He's actually going to school himself, and he's going in the medical field. There's a lot of information that I don't is deeper than, okay, so there's a lot of information that I don't really know how much information I want to say about this guy. Um, I'm not I'm not scared of him anymore. I'm not scared of, I know that God has me and God will protect me and things. There was a lot of trauma that I went through in the relationship, and I don't want him to have any reason to even think of me ever again. I don't want him to come back into my life in any type of way. And even if he hears this video, like he might, I just don't even know how much I even want to divulge about him personally, besides what was actually happening with me, because um, I don't want to, like I said, bring him back into my life, and I don't want to cause a safety issue for myself or anything like that. So anyway, he believed in school. He was in school himself, and he, I would go to school. He would go to school as well. He went to a different school, and I would catch the city bus to go to school. Now, I used to have to catch 3 city buses to get to school, and 3 city buses to get back to school from where he lived. Because when I lived with my family, I was able to catch maybe 1 or 2 buses. Now I have to catch 3 city buses, and I think the total time took maybe an hour and a half just to get to school and to get back home from school on the city buses. So I was upset at the time because I was just like, he wouldn't get up to like drive me to school. But it's like he did everything he wanted to do. But when it came to like, it was like certain stuff that he would do for us, for me and his baby mama or whatever. So while I'm on the subject of school, there were a couple times that he let me take the car. Like I said, he would make me wait, and then I later found out that it was because he was having someone follow me to make sure that I was actually going to school and things like that. And I wasn't able to take the car all the time. I was only able to take the car sometimes, and then sometimes it would just be parked outside or whatever. And then um, in school, I was making straight A's in English. As I ended up um, finishing school, things started getting a lot rougher at home. Like we were now at by this time, he I mean, maybe not even a month in, he's already, become abusive. He's already starting to be really jealous. He's already starting to be like really insecure and just accusing me of everything, and just very controlling, just won't let me go anywhere, won't let me do anything, just talking down to me all the time, um, just all kinds of stuff that, just verbally and mentally abusive, physically abusive, everything. And so by this time, I'm struggling to even keep up. And then the thing is too, what I thought was really weird and what I did not like, and this is how I ended up getting abused the first time, was because he would still go out. Like I said, sometimes he would go out and he would stay out and party, and sometimes he would take me with him, sometimes he wouldn't. And so I want to say that maybe we met during the last semester. And then, no, I don't remember. I don't remember that part of it, but I know that I was in school. So I have to get up at 6 in the morning to catch 3 city buses to get to school. He will go out, he would drink and get high and everything, and then he would come back in at like 2, 3, 1, whatever, 4 in the morning. And what happened was, he expected us, me and his baby mama, no matter what time it was, we both had to get up. If we had our hair tied up because we were sleeping and stuff, we had to untie our hair, and we had to put. I don't think we came in there with our pajamas on. I don't remember that part, but I know for sure we had to untie our hair. And so we had to get up, we had to untie our hair, and we had to sit in there with him and talk to him and grease his hair and cook him food at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Now, mind you, she just had a newborn baby. She also has a 3-year old that she's taking care of. I'm in school. I'm getting up at 6 in the morning to go to school, doing classes all day, and then catching 3 city buses to get home, not getting home until later on in the evening. And I think so sometimes I was even telling him, like, I don't want to go because, like, I got to get up in the morning. I can't. And so, but he did not care about any of that. All he cared about was like, oh, when he gets home, we have to get up, we have to untie our hair, we have to come out presentable from our rooms, and we have to sit in there and talk to him and go in the kitchen and make him some food. And so the first time that I got um, abused physically was one of those nights he came in from partying, and he was like, he usually would tell his baby's mom to go in the kitchen and make him some food. And this particular night, he decides to tell me to go in the kitchen and make him some food. And I'm like, what? You go make it yourself. Like, I got to get up in a few hours to go to school. And you perfectly capable. You just came, I had a smart mouth at the time. So, yeah. He did not like that. And so like I said, we had to untie our hair. And so I had left my hair tied here because I knew, like, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep after he get done with all this nonsense. So I left my hair tied, and it was hanging on my neck like this. And so he comes up and he's like, I said go in the kitchen and make me something to eat. But he's like saying in a joking way, like, and he's smiling and he's like high out of his mind. And I'm like, I said go in there and make it yourself. And he's like, so he keeps like getting closer as we're having this, you know, um, this conversation. And he's like, I said go in the kitchen and make me something to eat. But he's smiling. I can't even do the smile. It was like a weird, witty smile or something. He's smiling and he's like, and then so I think she was actually greasing his hair that night, or I don't know what was happening. For some, no, I don't think she was doing anything that night because I was like, why don't you have her do it or you go do it yourself? So she's just sitting there looking. And so he gets up and he eventually is like right here face to face. And he's like, I said, go in the kitchen, make me something to eat. And I was like, I said, go in there and make it yourself. Like, so he takes my scarf and he starts choking me. And I'm like, at first it was kind of like, he was just playing. Like, it wasn't like really, he wasn't really choking me. He kind of just like pulled it like this and was like, I said, go in the kitchen and get me something to eat. And he just working into it because I'm just falling right into the trap. And so I'm arguing with him like in a playful way, like, and you think I'm going to change my mind. I just said what I said. And so as we are going back and forth with this, he starts pulling it tighter and tighter. And he pulls it so tight to where now my windpipe is starting to like, I can't barely breathe to talk. And I'm at this point like, okay, whoa, hold up. Like, this is getting serious because like this dude about to try to strangle me or what. And so at that point when I started feeling like the scarf was cutting off my windpipe and stuff, and I started getting a little scared, and I was like, okay, fine, fine. And so I went in the kitchen and made him something to eat at like 2 or 3 in the freaking morning, and I had to get up at 6 to go to class. So I made him some, I don't even know, it was probably like some chili dogs or something. And I was just like, oh, this is so stupid. But anyway, so that was like the first time that he actually um put his hands on me. And actually it there I want to say, oh, you know what? This might have happened a few nights before, and this might have led up to him doing that. Or it was either that night, I know for sure he was telling me to make him something to eat, and somewhere around this time, maybe right before or right after, um, I went to go hang out with my friends that I had met, that I was hanging out with when I met him, and they were in the streets, okay? They was out there, they was, doing what they do. We was all out there doing what we do. And so we was all drinking, smoking. There was like, stripper poles at the house and they were dancing, and we at the parties and just different things like that. And so when I came and got in the car, he called me several times to come and pick me up. And this is what I was saying, like when I said like I don't know if he possibly sent guys to set me up, because I didn't at the time, I didn't think that, he was doing this, but he might have had some guys come up to me and try to see if they can get my number. Um, like I said, I never slept with anybody, but he was having, I guess, guys come up to see if they can get my number, and I possibly might have gave it to him. Like I said, I was high a lot. Okay, I was drunk a lot, but anyway, so I went to the party. He knew that there was a stripper pole there, and so this is why I also say it might have been someone, because I do think I remember a guy coming up to me and flirting with me and trying to see if he can get my number. So I think I gave it to him, maybe even more than one. But anyway, because I'm thinking like I'm trying to get out of this man's house. Okay. So anyway, we he picks me up from the party, and he's calling me multiple times. Now I'm not answering because the girl, I think, that I was there for, the whose birthday it was, I think my phone might have been dead. No, I had my phone. My cousin was with me, and something happened where I think the girl might have been using my phone, because her phone was not somebody was using her phone, or something happened to her phone or something. She was using my phone, and I guess, people were, I guess she hung up on him or something. And then I didn't know she was done with my phone. And so I didn't see that he was calling me. So he called me like 6 times or something. I didn't answer. So when he pulls up to get me, we're like riding down the street, and we're on the way to the house. It's late. It's probably like 12, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And he pulls up to get me. I get in the car. I'm in good spirits or whatever. I'm, under influence. I'm like, whatever. So he starts picking an argument. He's like, why didn't you answer the phone? And I'm like, I didn't know that she had my phone, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that you were calling. And he's like, what were you doing? And I was like, I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was just there with her for her birthday. I was just celebrating her birthday with her. And he's like, no. He's like, what were you doing? Who were you talking to? And you were sleeping with somebody, weren't you? And I'm like, no, I was not. And so he's egging me on into an argument. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I was not doing anything. So he's like, so also my cousin had decided to leave because she had went home early because she went with her guy that she was talking to or whatever. She left and went with him, and she left me there, and I wasn't, I was went with her. And so now it also seems like I haven't been answering my phone, and my cousin left me. And so it's like, okay, what was you doing? So we're riding down the street at after midnight sometime, and he is like pressing on the gas really fast, and we're speeding down the highway, and he's like drunk and he's high, and he's like, what were you doing in there? He's cussing me out. And I'm like, I wasn't doing anything. I'm telling you. He's like, where's your cousin? Why was your cousin not there? She left. And then I think he had her number, so he called her, and I think she said she was asleep or something. And he set me up before he even got there, because he called her and he asked her. He said, he was like, did you leave? He asked her the opposite question, like, did you leave the party, or were you there with her, or something like that? And she was halfway asleep when he called her. So she said, yeah, because she's thinking she's, covering for me. But he asked her the opposite, like, did you um, go to the party with her? And then she was like, yeah. Or did you stay at the party with her? And she was like, yeah. And he's knowing that I'm in the car, and now, and he's already like set it up where he basically turned the situation around and asked her the opposite question of what actually was happening, and she agreed to it because she thought that she was covering for me. So when we're in the car, I'm like, she was there, like she was with me, she ended up leaving, blah blah blah. And so I call her and I'm like, please, I'm like, tell him, please tell him that you were there. Please tell him that you left it. And so she's halfway asleep. So she's just like, yeah, like, he called me, and she's like, and I'm like, please, please tell him. And as I'm yelling, please tell him, and we're riding down the road at probably like 90 or 100 miles per hour. I'm like, please, please just tell him. And I think I had the phone on this side because he's driving. And he takes he smacks the phone out of my hand so hard that the phone hits I'm glad it didn't hit the window, because it probably would have busted the windshield, because that's how hard he hit the phone. The phone shuts closed and it smacks into the um, floorboard, or the dashboard, and the floorboard or whatnot. And I'm like, I'm just trying to tell you, like, I was, she's not, she don't, she's halfway asleep, like she doesn't know, he's like, no, you're lying, you're lying. So he's yelling at me, cussing me out, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So then that's whenever we get to the house, and I don't know if it was like maybe the next night or like a couple nights or something like that, but he was really, really mad. And so he was trying to figure out a way to where he could basically abuse me even more. And so that's whenever the situation with the scarf happened. So that was probably the first time that I mean, I guess both of them, because he hit my hand and hit pretty hard, and he's yelling at me and everything like that. And then we end up going to, I mean, more days pass by, and I go, oh my gosh, it's so much that happened. Like, I'm really gonna have to break this up because I don't even have the time, and I have to really like go back and kind of remember the order of how things happen. But what I will say, because I was talking about the school. So I was in school. I was doing well in English, and I was getting straight A's. So on my final, the end of semester comes, and on my final, I end up failing, like straight up just failing. And I didn't really read the assignment. I really didn't care. I was just like, whatever. Like, I'm over it. I'm already going through, oh, this is kind of how. So I was going through so much, and he was starting to become abusive and more controlling. And he was doing the craziness of waking us up early in the morning hours to get up and, come and sit with him after he came out from partying, and all that stuff. And so that stuff was just starting to take a toll on me. And I was just like, I couldn't really focus to get my studies done, my schoolwork done anymore, because I was just so um, just high out of my mind all the time, trying to escape reality. And then also just dealing with all of the craziness that was going on from him and his baby mama and stuff like that. And so I end up failing my final for English. And I don't even remember my other classes. I think I passed a few classes, like whatever, and then I think a couple of them I failed, and then a couple of them I just got completely incomplete because it was just like, yeah, you didn't do your work. You don't you yeah, I just completely bombed those like tests or whatever. So, but English was, I had worked hard. I had got all A's. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, pass English. But at this time, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Like, whatever. So the teacher knows me. She's always, I guess I'm like, thankfully, one of her, I wouldn't say her favorite student, but she really liked me and she enjoyed reading my work and stuff like that. So she's like, well, you've always gotten all A's. And she's like, how come you got, I either got a D or an F on the paper. And she's like, I've never seen like the whole entire class, you've gotten all A's. How did you get, this score? And she's like, I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot going on. I'm like, whatever, like, it's fine. And this is my final. And she's like, well, I'm not going to accept this. And I'm like, what? Like, just just accept it and just give me a C for, because I think since I had made all A's and even if I got a D or F on the final, it would have averaged out to probably like a C for the, but I still would have passed the class. And so she's like, no, she's like, I'm not going to accept this. You have never gotten this kind of grade before, and I know you can do better. And I'm going to give you the summer to complete this. And as long as you turn it in by the end of the summer, then I will give you a passing grade. And I'm like, lady, please, like, just give me the C. I'm fine with the C as long as I pass the class. And she's just like, no. So she gives me the book and the paperwork or whatever, and she's like, fix these corrections and blah 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 and da da da. And I'm just like, so at the time, we still have those big box computers, like the big desktops and everything, like the old ones that like, make the little noise whenever they come on. So, and not everybody has a computer because this is like 2008, and a lot of people don't have computers and laptops and phones and things like they do now. So the only way I can do my paper is by going over to my family's house to use their computer. Now, mind you, I told you earlier that I was not allowed to go to my, well, I was going to my family's house, but he was having somebody watch me. And so now it got to the point where I was not allowed to go over there because he saw that I was over there and the guys were flirting with me, and that the guy across the street, he could tell probably that I liked him because we were talking for 3 hours on the stoop. And so he's to the point where he's like jealous, and he's like, I'm, like, no, you can't go over there. You're just trying to go over there and be with guys. You're just trying to go over there and sleep around. And I'm like, what? I'm going over to my family's house. I'm not even thinking about these guys. So then um, uh, I wanted to go to the library. I tried to go to the library. It was a whole thing with that too, because like I said, every time I had to be approved before I could leave the house. And he was oftentimes making it where I could not do what I needed to do. And he didn't believe that I was going over there to do my paper. He believed I was going over there to flirt with the guys. And so he would not let me go over to do my paper. Now, I didn't know anyone else with a computer. I didn't have a laptop. We didn't have, nobody else really had any like computers or anything like that. We didn't have the smartphones. We had the little flip phone. So I could not get that paper done. And I begged that teacher, I said, please, please just give me a C, please. And she's like, no. And so, of course, the summer passed, and every time I tried to go over to see my family to finish the paper, he didn't believe me and he would not allow me to go. And so I ended up getting an incomplete for the class after I did all of that work, got all A's, and then failed my final. And I wish you would have gave me a C. I could at least pass the class, but it's okay. It's all right. It is what it is. So I end up getting incomplete in my English class. And I failed some other classes or got incomplete in those because I think I dropped out of some classes like the math and science because I was just like, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. And then the other classes, I think I might have passed a few of my classes. So then I'm getting even more frustrated because I'm just like, he's controlling me. He's not letting me go out. He's watching, he's, checking on me every time. He's having people watch me, which I still don't know at this time. I don't find out that people are watching me until after I leave him. But when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that's when they were watching me. And so now I can see the times when they were actually watching me, but I didn't know it. And actually, I take that back. I did find out that there were some people watching me at a job, which is going to come up soon. So at this point, yeah, things are getting rockier and rockier, and we are, he also will, like, only time I could go with my family is if he wanted to go and do something. And he would, like, for some reason, he would take his baby mama and their two kids, and he would drop them off at her family's house. And then he would take me and he would drop me off at my family house. But his daughter was 12 at the time, and one of them was 12. And so she would come over. And so he would let me go to my family's house if she was with me, because he felt like I couldn't sleep with anybody or anything like that, or flirt if she was with me. And, of course, then she can then watch me. He can go ask her what happened, and then she can tell him. So he would allow me to go only for a short time if she was with me. And so um he ends up we end up, I think it's like 4th of July or something, and he takes his baby mama and her family, I mean, to her family, and drops her off. And then he takes me and his 12-year-old daughter to my family's house and drops us off. And then, like, even before this happened, like, every time that he would drop me off at my family house, like, because it was so many people outside on their porch and stuff, and he wanted them to see, he would get out the car. And it felt like that movie, what's it called, Barbershop, where the white guy gets out and he's like kissing the girl and like grabbing her booty and stuff, like trying to, and so every time that he would take me over there to my family's house, he would get out the car, he would come around. And then the thing is, like, there was still a hierarchy, I guess, in the relationship. And so his baby mama would be in the front. And then I would always have to sit in the back because I was younger, and because she was, and so he, even if I'm like in the back, he would get out, he would open the door, and then and this is the only time he really would open the door for me. And then he would come around the car where they could all see, and then he would like give me this big nasty sloppy kiss and grab all of my booty and stuff, like, just to make sure that everybody knows that, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm his. And I was just like, ugh, like, I used to hate it, or I used to hate it, but what can I do? So he would so then, back to the 4th of July, we he drops me and his daughter off at my family's house. We go visit my family for a short time, and then we are supposed to go down to his family's house, which everything is like, if you, at this time, where my family stays and where his family stays, where his mother stays, and the rest of his, some of his sisters and brothers, they are about maybe 5 blocks down from where my family stays. And so me and his daughter have to walk down there. It could have been anywhere from 5 to 10 blocks, but we were able to walk down there. And so we had to go down there at a certain time. So we go down there, and that day was hard. It was very hard because it was a lot of people that stayed at his family's house. And it was not it was a lot of roaches that stayed there too. I'm just gonna be transparent. I can't even. It ain't no way to say it without saying it. It was the roaches. Was This was roach motel? Like, there was roaches everywhere. There was so much roaches that when me and his daughter had to sit. We ended up getting left there. He was supposed to come get us hours later, so we had to go down there. Let's say we had to be at his mother's house at like 4 or 5 that evening. So he was supposed to come get us maybe, maybe like 9 or 10 that night. But he did not come get us and take us home, and we could not leave because at this time we didn't have Ubers and all that stuff. And we could have got on a city bus, but he didn't want his daughter on a city bus. And then he just felt like, he do whatever he wanted to do. So he would just leave us there sometimes until he was ready to come get us. So this particular day, he leaves us there all the way until the next morning at 6 a.m. Now, mind you, there is no room for us to sleep in. There's multiple rooms in the house, but there's his sister and her husband and their kids all staying in one room. There's the other sister and her husband and their kids all staying in another room. There's the brother and his uh, girlfriend and kids all staying in another room. There's the mom and her boyfriend staying in another room. And so all the rooms are full. The couch even has a man sleeping on it who I think was like, I don't know, an uncle or family friend or something. The chair in the living room also has a man sleeping on it who we don't know. And me and his daughter are sitting here on the couch and we are fighting off roaches. Like roaches are crawling on our hands, they crawling on our clothes, they crawling on us everywhere. Oh my gosh, it was disgusting. And they were everywhere. They were all over the house. You go to the bathroom, they're just everywhere. They're crawling on everything. They ain't even running when you turn on the light. And we're sitting on the couch and we are literally like dozing off because we're so tired. And we shooing roaches off of us and shooing them off of each other. And it was just, ooh, it was miserable. So then we I want to finish this because I'm just like I got to get ready for work, but I want to finish this part because if I start all over, it's just gonna mess me up. So, this is leading into uh kind of like the finale of him uh beating me, and so I wouldn't even say the finale because he ended up doing it again. But so anyway, he the roaches are crawling everywhere, and I am pissed and his daughter is upset and we don't have a say so, and then his child's baby mama is over there with his kids at her family's house and she's going through a lot over there too because everybody's drinking, everybody's smoking, everybody's just getting all crazy. It's the holiday, people just fighting and all kinds of stuff. So he finally decides after he didn't stay out all night. Now, dude, you couldn't have came and picked us up and took us home and then went out and party and did what you had to do. Your baby mama and two kids and your other daughter and your other girlfriend or whatever I was. So anyway, he leaves us there. He comes at like 6 in the morning, and I think he didn't know his baby mom wasn't in the car because we went to go pick her up afterwards. So we get in the car, and of course I'm mad. Me and his daughter get in the back seat. So we go to pick up his baby mama and his other two daughters. And so when we pull up, his baby mama comes out and she sprayed on some kind of cheap, bad smelling cologne or perfume. And so when she gets in the car, she smells like this cheap, like bad smelling perfume. And so he's like, what did you spray? And she's like, oh, my, sister or somebody had something and I just tried it. He's like, why did you spray that? He was like, you smell bad. He was like, what was you doing? He was like, you was over there with a dude. What was you doing? So he's accusing her now. And she's like, no, I wasn't. He's like, you was over there having sex with somebody, wasn't you? Da, da, da. And he's cussing around and stuff. And she's just like, no, I was not. I just tried it because she had it. And I just tried the perfume. He's like, that smell like. And so he starts making jokes about her. And so the whole time I'm sitting here and his daughter sitting here, we tired, we irritated. We just like, I hate you right now. Like, but he's making jokes and then like he's also arguing with her and picking an argument with her because he's like, what you been doing? Da, da, da. Now mind you, he been out all night. I told you what he be doing. He picks up women and he goes and treats them out and does all this stuff that he was doing with me and with all the other what he did with all of us to get us trapped. And then now he's out with somebody else and he's doing it. So you've been out all night. So obviously he had been sleeping with somebody because he didn't come back until 6 in the morning. And he's accusing her of sleeping with somebody. So they're arguing like the whole ride home. And we're like in the back, just like annoyed, like, oh my gosh, like will y'all just will you just leave her alone? Will you just shut up? Because like he's just picking an argument with her. Nobody, you don't care that you left us here all night. You don't care that we were getting crawled on by roaches and dealing with your family arguing and they're drinking and all this other stuff. And then, and so anyway, we pull up to the house. And by this time, I've been there a few months, maybe about 5 months or so, 4 or 5 months, I don't know. And so we pull up to the house and we all get out the car, and as we're getting out the car, he's still talking, he's still making jokes, he's still saying smart comments to her, still dogging her out because she sprayed on this nasty smelling perfume. It really did stink. It's not, I don't know, it's probably smelled like bug spray. I don't know, it really did stink. It was some kind of cheap perfume. She really shouldn't put it on, but he thought she was trying to cover up that she was sleeping with somebody. So anyway, we're going up the stairs to the apartment, and it's like when you go in the, you open up the door and you go up the stairs. There's two apartments on the ground floor, the doors to those apartments, and then you go up the stairs and there's two apartments across from each other up on the top floor. And so we're up on the top floor, and he's putting the key in, and he's just like, "Oh, you smell like blah 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 blah." It's 6 in the morning. I went to use the bathroom all night because it was roaches crawling on me when I tried to go in there and use the bathroom the first time, and I refused to have roaches crawling on my legs while I'm trying to squat and use the bathroom, and it's roaches crawling over the toilet seat and everything else. So I held my pee. Me and his daughter, we did not use the restroom because after that first time I tried to go and it was I was like, I'm not going again. I'm gonna wait till I get to the house. So we are sitting here, all of us are standing there. She's standing here with the baby car seat in her hand. The 3-year-old is tired, she's sleepy, she's barely awake, and he's trying to, he woke her up to walk in. He didn't carry her, and he woke her up to walk her in. And then so I'm trying to help the 3-year-old in, or me and the 12-year-old trying to help the 3-year-old in, and then the baby mama has the car seat, and we're all standing like staggered on the stairs down below him, and he's just making jokes, and he's just, and he's taking a long time to open the door. And so I told y'all I had a smart mouth. So I was like, will you just open the door? Like, we've been waiting like we've been out all night. We are tired. I just gotta. So he was like, what you say to me? And I was like, I'm just saying, can you open the door? Like, I gotta use the bathroom. He was like, no. He was like, he opened the door. He was like, okay, and y'all go in. He was like, and so he stopped me on the stairs and he's like, sit down. And I'm like, what? It's 6 in the, like, I'm like, I was just saying, I got to use the bathroom and we all tired. And he's like, sit down on the stairs. He wants me to sit down on the stairs in the hallway where leading to the other apartments. And I'm like, ugh. And so he stands there until I sit down. And so he's like, and don't move until I tell you to move. And I'm like, oh, I gotta pee. And he's like, I don't care. Sit there and you're gonna learn to stop talking back. So he goes in the house, and I'm like, I have to pee so bad. It's light outside right now because by the time we make it home, by the time we picked her up and made it home, it's about probably 7 or so in the morning. And the building is actually facing sideways to the street. And so, but I'm like, I have to pee so bad. So, me not thinking about the building facing sideways, I'm just like, I'm about to go and use the bathroom outside because I got to pee. So I walk out, and the door to get into the hallway is like loud and creaky. And so the door starts, it creaks, but I'm like, I don't even care. I just got to pee. Like, let me just deal with the consequences when I get back around from peeing. So I'm like, I'm going to just sit here, afterwards when I get back from peeing. So I go around the house, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the street is right there. And I'm like, and then the parking lot is right here. And there's people like driving by on both. And I'm like, I don't care. I gotta pee. And so I literally pulled my pants down. And I don't even remember if I got to pee or if I may have started peeing or what. And he comes around the building. He's like, oh, so you just gonna say F what I say, huh? Now, I don't cuss now. I used to cuss all the time, but I don't cuss now. So if it's a cuss word or if I imitate a cuss word, I'm just gonna say the first letter of the cuss word. So he's like, you just said F what I'm saying, huh? You said F what I'm saying, huh? Get your head in the house. And so I don't even know if I I don't even know if I peed. If I peed all on myself, but he snatches me up and he's pushing me and hitting me, and I'm going into the house. And I'm like, I just had to pee. I was just going around to pee. I was gonna sit down. I just had to pee. So by this time, I'm fed up with all of this stuff that has been going on. And I'm just like, I am over it. I'm so done with this. I'm tired of this. And so he's cussing me out. It's early in the morning. We outside. You embarrassing me in the hallway. We can't even wait till we get in the house. You cussing me out all around the building and beating me up all around the building and stuff, smacking me upside the head and stuff. So as I'm walking in the door, I say, you know what? I'll just leave. No, he said, you gonna say F what I'm you gonna say F what I'm saying, you gonna say F what I'm saying, and you're staying at my house or something like that. And I said, you know what? I'll just leave. And before I could get leave fully out my mouth, I was over on the other side of the living room. He had hit me and knocked me over the sofa, like I guess the little extension that leads out of the sofa. He knocked me over that, and I fell like over the couch, over to the other side of the living room. And now, mind you, his baby mom and his daughter's his 3 year old is now in the bed because his baby mom had just put her in the bed, and the 12 year old is sitting on the couch. And when she sees that he hit me, it really broke my heart because I grew up seeing domestic violence from my parents and other people as well, some of the foster parents and just things like that. And I was all I could think about when it happened. His 12-year-old daughter started crying. She's like, "Daddy, Daddy, please, like, leave her alone, please." And he's like, "Shut up." And then he just picks me up, and she's crying and screaming, and the baby mama is just looking, and she's just kind of like, man. And then, the baby's crying, and then the 3-year-old daughter, this is the part that breaks my heart. I don't even want to break down. Oof. Anyway, he pulls me into the room, and like I said, the 3-year-old daughter slept in the bed with me. And I want to cry. Into the room, and he is like beating me. Like, he's just like, all I know is I see his hand, just I don't even feel it. I'm so mad and I'm so concerned about, oh my gosh, not in front of the babies, not in front of the kids, not in front of the kids. And I just wanted to like just pick her up and just tell her, like, go in the living room. I just wanted to like just take her out of there. And he's just beating me, and all I know is I can see his hand, and I know he's hitting me because I'm moving and stuff, but I cannot feel it because I'm so angry, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna kill him, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna kill him. And I'm like, and I'm thinking about, I don't want to take the father away from their kids, but like, I'm gonna kill this man, and I gotta think about how I'm gonna do it. And this, I'm being totally honest, this is what I'm thinking at this time. I would not kill nobody. I never would kill anyone ever. But at the time, this is how I felt because I was like, I have to get out of the situation. He won't let me leave. I just said I'm leaving. And he just beat me black and blue. So as he's hitting me, he has his hands are nubs because he had frostbite when he's younger. He has on this big ring on his finger. And so I just start feeling something down my face. I feel something cold going down my face. And so I'm not hitting back because I'm like, I don't want him to kill me. I don't want him to hurt me even worse. I had found out that he had put not the baby mama who was there, but another baby mama who would absolutely have nothing at all to do with him. He had put her in the ICU and almost killed her because he beat her so bad. And so at this time, I think I know this information. He had three baby mamas, and he had also beat the other baby mama and the one that was there and the other girls that he had came in contact with. And I knew that if I would have fought back, it would have gotten worse. He probably would have beat me so bad that I would have needed medical care, and he would not have allowed me to go to the hospital. And so I didn't fight back, but I feel something cold coming down my face. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, Lord, like, I ain't gonna lie, I probably wasn't calling on the Lord because at the time I wasn't thinking about God. I knew of God and stuff, but I wasn't really, as you can see, I was not living the lifestyle of, um, knowing God. And so, um, he's yelling at me and he's not getting any reaction out of me. I'm just kind of just like I probably was, frowned up or something, but I wasn't like responding back. I wasn't trying to fight back. I wasn't pushing them off of me, nothing. I was just letting them like hit me. And I just kept looking back at the 3-year old, and I can still see her eyes to this day looking at me. And that is the part that makes me so sad. But anyway, so he is, you know, beating me. And then I don't know if maybe he just got tired or he just was seeing that I wasn't responding, or maybe when he saw like my eye, maybe it stopped him. I don't remember. I just remember that he's hitting me, and I'm falling, and then he hits me, and I fall back on the bed, and I look up at the 3-year old, and I'm just like, oh God. And then he, is still hitting me, and then he stops, and then he's saying something, and I can't even hear because I'm so mad. Everything is just like, ugh. So I'm in a cloud of just anger that I can't even hear, and I cannot feel anything besides the cold wetness on my face, coming down my face. And so he eventually is like yelling, and then he walks out of the room, and he's like, now get in the bed. And or no, he said, go clean yourself up or something like that. And I go in the bathroom, and my eye is swollen. I'm actually gonna try to. I don't know if I have the actual picture, but because like I said, we had the flip phones at that time. But I'm gonna find a picture that looks similar to it if I don't have the actual picture, and I'm gonna add it on here. My eye is swollen. It's closed partially, and if it's bloodshot red, like it's red, it looks scary. It looks like something from a movie. It's white. This is split open, and it's white like cottage cheese, like hanging out of my eye right here. And I know it sounds gruesome. I feel, I'm sorry for, anybody who has went through domestic violence, because I know it can be hard to like relive this. But I'm just trying to be as honest as possible and, you know, share what really happened. So anyway, my eye is like, I'm unrecognizable. I'm looking now. I have perfect vision. I've always had perfect vision. I actually have better than 2020. I had 2010. I still have 2010 vision, and I was I, I looked and I did not even recognize myself because my eye is so, it looks so crazy. It looks so scary, and it actually like kind of caught me off guard when I looked at it in the mirror, and I just remember thinking like, what just happened? Like, all I said was, I'm leaving, And from then it was just like I blacked out. He beat me and I didn't even feel it. And, you know, and so then I think I went to sleep. I got in the shower maybe or something. I went to sleep. And at some point, my eye was looking so bad that he was like, you need to go to the hospital. Because I guess he had calmed down from his bit of rage. He's like, you need to go to the hospital. But I'm going to take you to the hospital. But you better not tell them what actually happened. You better say that you fell or you got hit in the eye, or I don't remember what he told me to tell them. But he told me to tell them something. And I was looking like, mm-hmm. And or probably like, mm-hmm, And he was like, I'll find out if you told him. And if you told him, then he basically threatened me or threatened my life that if I was to tell him, because he was on parole and he was he didn't want no police involvement, and he was on parole. And then, of course, all of them would have, lied and covered up for him and everything like that. And then I possibly could have disappeared, or it could have been worse. Somebody would have probably came and, I probably would have disappeared. So he takes me to the hospital, and I'm going to leave it at that for now because I have to go to work. And like I said, this video is already, I know, long, and I'm going to have to tell this in a couple episodes. And so probably one more episode, and I think this one will pretty much be done. But if you want to hear what happened after that, it does get even crazier than that. Um, just come back and tune in for the next episode whenever I upload that, which will probably be next week because I'm going to try my best to get it done. But thank you so much for listening up until this point. I'm sorry to leave you with a cliffhanger. Well, I mean, I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta get ready for work, and plus, like, if I really sit here and tell this story, it'd probably be 3-4 hours long, and that's too long to be trying to do a video. So come back and hear the rest of the story when I upload it. And thank you so much for tuning in. And please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can get notifications of when I post the next video. And come back and hear the rest of the story. All right, bye, loves.